KSJE is supported by the Farmington Civic Center, bringing a full slate of entertainment to Farmington and San Juan County. The Interactive Art of Artrageous, Saturday, May 21st at 7:30 p.m. The Farmington Civic Center, 200 West Arrington in downtown Farmington. Find out more online at fmtn.org/shows or 505-599-1148. Good morning, everyone. I'm Scott Michlin. Thanks for tuning in to KSJE 90.9 FM, of course, over the radio in San Juan County. You can stream us everywhere else on the planet from our website, ksje.com. And hopefully we'll be back on the air soon in Durango at our 103.3 FM frequency. Welcome also to our viewers who are watching this visual radio program. It is streaming live this morning out to the KSJE Facebook page, our YouTube channel, and our Twitter account, because KSJE is a community-supported visual radio station. So we're glad that you're with us this morning as well, everyone, because coming up, it is our monthly commitment to CHIC, the Community Health Improvement Council. Every month, representatives from CHIC come in and talk with me about whatever they are working on to improve the health of our community. And this morning, it's all about kids and nutrition. We'll learn more about that in the next few moments right here on KSJE. And then, of course, it's Tuesday, so later on this hour, we'll be checking in with Amber Francisco from the Farmington Regional Animal Shelter. She'll be telling us about some of the pets available for adoption this week, including Bobby, that good-looking dog on the screen right there. He is available this week at the shelter. We'll tell you more about him and the other pets coming up this morning, 8:50 a.m. on KSJE. Mick Hess is taking us roving with the arts all this week. Mick is featuring the Prayer for the Ukraine. That composition, you'll hear more of that coming up this morning at 9:06 on Roving with the Arts here on KSJE. We remind you, of course, you can connect with us on our Instagram page on social media, in addition to Facebook, YouTube, and our two Twitter accounts, one at KSJE_news and the other at KSJE. And if you're a podcast person, we invite you to subscribe to our podcasts for free, of course. You can find them wherever you listen to podcasts, places like iTunes and Spotify and iHeartRadio and Google Podcasts, Amazon Music and Podbean and Pandora. Check us out, subscribe, and find a new program that you may not have heard before from KSJE. Outside our studios, it's a sunny morning so far here in Farmington, 51 degrees outside our studios. We're expecting a mostly sunny day today, but those winds will pick up again this afternoon. We could see wind gusts as high as 50 miles per hour. Today's high 74 in Farmington. Windy and cold overnight. Look at that, 38 for a low tonight. It'll be mostly sunny but cooler tomorrow with a high of 64 on Wednesday. Cool Wednesday night, the low 35. 75 degrees and sunshine on Thursday, warming up to 84 with sunny skies on Friday before the winds pick up again for the weekend with temperatures right around 80 degrees. Stand by, everyone. Joining me this morning as a part of our monthly commitment to CHIC, the Community Health Improvement Council from the San Juan County Partnership. Joining us remotely, Patience Williams is here. Good morning. Thank you for being here.
Good morning, Scott.
And here in the studio with me is Barbara Tedrow from a Gold Star Academy and Smiling Faces. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Scott. Good morning, Patience.
Good to have both of you with us this morning. And let me start with you, Patience Williams, to tell us a bit more about this program that we'll be talking about, this Farm to Preschool program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, as you know, here in San Juan County, we have been working on the Farm to Institution program for quite a few years now. And we were fortunate enough to be the recipient with Barbara as one of the pilot programs for Farm to Preschool. We also have 2 mini grant sites for small $500 grants. So we're getting there. We're getting into all the schools, institutions. We've already done senior centers, and so now we're into early childhood development. And I know Barbara's been working on this as well. So it's just really an exciting thing. And of course, we're going to be utilizing the food hub and everyone there. So it's just bringing everything together again. So
very, very exciting. Congratulations. And Barbara Tedrow, how does this then work with your installations, right? With your facilities then?
Well, we've been in operation for 22 years, and during that time, we participate in the Child and Adult Care Food Program. And so part of that is providing the meals to the children while they're on site, breakfast, lunch, and snacks. And about 5-6 years ago, we really wanted to get out and work with our local farmers to see what was out there, how we could collaborate. We started attending some of the meetings, getting to know a few people. It's a lot harder to get out and get that done. So we were able to actually make 2 connections. And so we worked with Kirby Orchards. And so they would provide whatever was in season. And so we would get fresh apples and pears. Great. Oh my gosh, if you've ever had their apples, you
Yes.
understand what I am talking about.
Right.
And so we worked with Kirby Orchards, and then we reached out to Aztec, to Townsend Farms. And we were able to collaborate whatever vegetables that they had available. And so we started utilizing that. So then, slowly trying to get the fresh produce into the center. We do have a full commercial kitchen. We feed about 250 kids a day. It's not a small feat, and so trying to collaborate and find who could get us the vegetables and so forth. And so I sit on the Early Learning Advisory Council, and it's the governor-appointed council. And one of the presenters was talking about this farm to preschool, and they were talking about the grant that was going to be coming out, and that's what put the bug in my ear. And I thought, you know what, I'd really like to apply for that grant, since I would like to expand and get more opportunities up here, get the connections, the collaborations going. And so there were 8 sites that were chosen around the state, and we were lucky enough to be one of them. So it's a great opportunity. I look so forward to it.
Congratulations. And again, you're talking about this food for your kids, right, at your centers. And so are these full meals? Are they just snacks or both?
It's both. Yes. At the center, the children that are there get a full breakfast, a full lunch, and then 2 snacks, an AM and a PM snack.
Right.
And so the goal is to bring in as much fresh fruits and vegetables as you can. Of course, we're limited, so a lot of it we work with Cisco. Mm-hmm. We do occasionally go out to Sam's Club, pick some stuff up, but the goal is we want to buy local, stay local.
Yeah.
That's always been a big push. The community, the families that I serve are from Farmington. I would like to take advantage of keeping businesses within Farmington going.
Right.
So.
Very true. Very true. And Patience Williams, as you and I have talked about before many times on this program, right? This is all part of building that economy for this type of locally grown fruits and vegetables, is having these buyers that will tell these farmers that if they grow it, there'll be a market for it and a need for it in the marketplace, right?
exactly. And we're so excited to be able to branch into, some of our youngest people in the community with the early childcare development. And it's just, for me, it's just so exciting that we've been able to get into all 3 specters with the schools, senior centers, and now the preschools, and giving our farmers the opportunity to ramp up their production and hopefully one day have it a viable job for them and their families, their kids to take over as they age out. So we'll see. This is just an exciting adventure right now. Right.
Very true. And Patience, we now see 2 of you on our screen here, so that's technology. And so we'll see if that stays or goes away, but we'll keep you connected as long as we can. But I don't know why that is happening. That's new. I haven't seen that before. Barbara Tedrow, technology, we love it. Barbara Tedrow, let me go back to you talking about the use of this locally grown fruits and vegetables. And of course, we all know that kids will eat anything that's put in front of them, right? They're not picky at all, correct? So,
oh, not at all.
How does that work? Do you find that they eat more of this fresher food when you have it available than some of the other stuff that's maybe not so fresh?
It is, yes. Just the color, the texture, the presentation of it. We are very fortunate that we actually this past year hired a certified chef. So this is a big deal for us. So we actually now have somebody who this is their specialties. He's coming in everything. He's like, I want to do this fresh, and I want to make this from scratch. And the kids are so excited. He goes in and he sits with them at lunchtime to see if they're liking it or not. Goes in and out of the classrooms, and they're quite honest.
Right.
he laughs. He's like, boy, 3-year-olds sure tell you how it is, don't they? But he's excited. One of the other aspects that's really exciting about this grant is that part of the funding is that so we can actually start to grow mini gardens on site at the centers. So not only working locally with the local farmers, it's also about the whole process of teaching the children how to grow your own fresh fruits and vegetables. And so we've just actually I'm lucky enough that I've got 2 really wonderful maintenance men that are just all around jack of all trades, and so they built us some custom planter boxes, and so we've now got those out at the centers. We've got 8 of them, and they're going to get ready to start planting and growing tomorrow.
'Tis the season, so
it
right
is.
on time, right?
It is.
How great.
And it's exciting. So it's going to be a whole curriculum teaching the kids. They can touch it, see it, feel it. That's going to get them invested, and then hopefully they'll in turn try it.
Right. Very good. Patience Williams, let me come back to you about this other component, right? Being able to have some of these gardens at some of the centers and teaching kids just how the whole process works, and maybe instilling that at an early age to maybe get more adults growing their own fruits and vegetables down the road. Is that part of this as well?
Yes, it is. Absolutely. The grants can be used for so many different things, and gardens are one of them. And so that is super exciting news. Barb, I'm excited. That is fantastic, because we know that if kids, they plant that seed, they watch it grow, they're more likely to eat it. So just learning where our food comes from, not from Walmart or the grocery store all the time, learning that we can actually plant our own food and be self-sustaining. So that is an amazing thing. And hopefully we can branch that out to some of the other sites that we have. So. Right.
And I wanted to ask you too, Patience Williams, a little bit about this grant program. Is this available for other centers in the county, or will be eventually, or how is this going to spread further and include more kids?
We're hoping this year is the pilot program.
Okay.
And so we'll see if we can get it going next year. But what we'd like to do is, even if the grant isn't available, to work with these other early childhood development centers and maybe raise local monies for them to get some of this going. So.
Got you. And Barbara, as you mentioned with your work, of course, working at a statewide level and being in contact with some of these things and learning about this grant, are you hoping maybe that other centers will join and come on board and will be able to support maybe these programs throughout the childcare community here in San Juan County?
Yes, most definitely. The Cabinet Secretary is very much on board with expanding this program. So she has already looked at setting aside some additional funding. One of the ways that we are braiding funding within the center is because we are part of the Child and Adult Care Food Program, is we do get reimbursed for monies for the meals that are provided to the children, whether it's just like the schools, whether it's a free, reduced, or a paid. Each family applies the same as they do through the schools. So there is also funding for the local child care centers that are on the food program to utilize some of that funding also. So we're hoping that they'll take more and more advantage. The problem that we were running into, the main hurdle, was the fact of how did the centers go out to find the farmers? That we wanted to do it. Most centers around the state will say, if you give me a connection, you give me a way to do it, and farmers didn't know. So now it's bringing it down to our level. Like Patience said, the schools have been wonderful about utilizing that and collaborating, and so now they're bringing it on down to the little kiddos, and we're so excited.
Very good, and good to hear. And that is a lot, maybe, of sometimes it's just that one missing little link, right? Mm-hmm. To get you talking to them and them talking to you and to make that connection, and this program seems to have helped. I think the Food Hub, the whole idea behind that is to get these folks together, the buyers and the sellers, and so that's kind of the way it's supposed to work, and it sounds like it is.
Exactly. We're still that's the next step, in which I'm thinking Patience may talk a little bit about that as the hub now. Mm-hmm. That was the missing component. That was the key of, I did my own behind the scenes of reaching out to towns and farms and reaching out to Kirby. Little known did I know there's the whole hub here.
Right.
So,
sure.
Bringing that entity in.
Right. Well, Patience Williams, that sounds like a great segue to you to talk a little bit about the Food Hub and how it's working to kind of fulfill this idea of bringing buyers and sellers together. And it certainly seems to be fulfilling that purpose, isn't it?
It is, it really is. And, we lost Erin. She still is a technical assistance with us, so we still have her on phone calls. But the Food Hub is still going strong and being able to make these connections. And that was when we really looked at the core, the purpose behind the Food Hub is to make this happen, is to be that dot connector, to meld our farmers with the institutions and to help them build those relationships. And on both sides, both with the buyers and the producers. So that was our big push. And all the farmers that we have, we were talking to Bonnie the other day, just our farmers that are participating in the farmers markets and everything. We have close to 100 producers in this area that are doing that. So that is amazing. And when those are going through the Food Hub as well, it's just a one-stop shop. Because we can still obviously buy from our farmers and the farmers markets, but the Food Hub for the institutions just takes out that red tape. It's much easier to deal with just one instead of trying to work with all 20, 30, 40, 50 producers just to be able to go to the Food Hub. And that was a purpose behind the Food Hub at the very beginning.
Right.
So it's great that it's working the way it's supposed to work.
Good to know. And that number sounds like it's increasing now that we're almost 100. Is that true? Is it a higher number than last season?
I'm not sure. That would be a Bonnie question.
Okay.
I just had to reach out to her the other day to get a guesstimated number on how many we have.
Gotcha.
So I'm hoping that is an increase. I know we have some new ones. And so I'm hoping that the new ones are not taking the place of existing, that they're adding to the numbers. So that's
all right.
Hopefully.
I've just made a note to get Bonnie on the show here in the next few weeks,
yes.
So we'll see if that can happen. But that's good to know. And again, you mentioned that Erin is still kind of helping with the Food Hub in some capacity. But obviously, even if there is a change of staff, the Food Hub's going to continue. Isn't that the intention?
Correct. It will continue. So it's going, and it'll continue to move forward. And it's just, we're working on it being definitely totally sustainable. So that's, when you go into different processes and everything else. And so that's what you want to do, is have it, no matter who is at the helm, to have it continue on. So, and it is. So, and I know Jacqueline's been working her tail off over there to keep it running. So super happy with her and proud of her for doing that. So
right. That's good to know. Glad to hear it. Barbara, Tedrow, let me come back to you a little bit about, for some of maybe the smaller operators of early child care centers and things like that. I mean, I think it sounds like it kind of simplifies the idea of getting food and getting healthier food into those centers. And I imagine that for folks that have a smaller facility than you do, that's got to be helpful as well, if they don't have maybe as much resources as you have maybe for your kids to be able to work in this capacity.
Correct. And I think getting them in touch and just saying, reach out to the hub, and it's your one-stop shop. And then from there, they can decide, well, you can start small like we did. Okay, let's just get all of our apples, this week, and then we can get our vegetables, or we can reach out. But just reaching out and starting small. I think any little bit that we can do for the kiddos at getting them the fresh produce is just, it's wonderful. And it's so exciting because we were so limited in what we were able to do, that the kids, these children that you look at when they're in licensed childcare, they're there for 10, 12 hours a day. And so we are their homes, and we want them to be fed nutritionally healthy. We want them to enjoy it.
Right. And this is part of, I think, an ongoing effort from the state level of more funding for child care centers, early childhood education. We hear a lot about that. We had the cabinet secretary on not too long ago after her listening tour here in San Juan County, talking a little bit about what she experienced here. And so the state really seems to be focused on the well-being of these children during these really, really important age ranges, right, and development stages. And so nutrition, period, has to be an important part of that conversation, doesn't it?
It does. When you're coming, you're not only talking about brain development, you're talking about healthy physical development, and that does come. these children, when they're in our care, we have to remember that we're taking care of not only the child, we're helping take care of a whole family. And a lot of the families that come to us, there's a lot of food insecurities that happen within the family household. So at least during the times that they are in our care, we can try to feed them those healthy nutrition meals. We've even, during the pandemic, we saw so much happen within our community. It was really stressful in seeing not only were we trying to do our jobs and keeping our child care centers working, we were trying to help families with their situations at home. So we actually, at the time at Gold Star, we were actually doing take-home meals, and we were doing take-home. We had never done that before, but we saw that there were a lot of children, and children talk and you get to know them. And
Sure,
so
of course.
We were getting to really find out what was happening, at home. And so it was something that we reached out to the state. Never before had child care centers done summer food programming, but a lot of the centers, because the schools were shut down during COVID, those
Right.
opportunities weren't there. Child care centers stepped up, and we became emergency summer food service providers. So you saw a licensed child care center step up and do a lot of things out of the norm, but it opened up a lot of doors. And it's like I was talking with Mike Mestas, from the emergency manager from San Juan County, and it was the first time that I reached out and said, Mike, you're forgetting about us. When the schools shut down, the first phone call I made was to him saying, do you know where these kids are going? They're coming to me.
Right.
So now what are we going to do? And that's what we started, so many conversations. And, something else you can make a little note for Bonnie there is we've also, San Juan County has started a 100% community group, and it's through NMSU, and Bonnie and myself are a core group of that. We're going to work on getting 100% Community San Juan. It's part of an organization that's run out of NMSU. There's 13 counties in all that are a part of it.
I think Kathy Price has talked about that with
Exactly.
me on this program. So
That's right.
you could
Yep.
search for that in the archives, but you
Yep.
bet that sounds like a great effort, right?
It is. And Ed, it's exciting to see that a lot of people are, I don't want to say beginning, because I've always tried my best to say, don't forget about childcare, don't forget about our little ones. But they're realizing that the 0 to 5, you can't forget about those kids, because they're the beginning of everything. And
Right.
we're the ones getting them ready to get into the schools and so forth. And eventually they're going to be the ones out running our society and out in the workforce.
No kidding. Very true. Very true. Before we know it, as a matter of fact, I am sure. And do you hope that maybe some of these healthy habits that you're instilling in the children maybe would go back to the parents?
Yes.
They may say, hey, my kid is actually eating vegetables at the child care center. If I buy the same type of fresher vegetables at home, maybe they'll eat them at home at dinner time too.
That's right. That's right. And one of the goals of what we've done is, I think we went a little overboard on some of our planter boxes. I'm excited to see how much they actually do produce and what we can get out there. But the goal is so that we can send them home in the evenings also, and we can make we're going to have recipe cards so that the teachers can, throughout the week, set with the children, get them ready, so that maybe Friday night in the evenings, what we'll do is we send them basically like a Blue Apron box, where it's
Sure,
delivered.
right.
Instead, it's going to come from the center, and you're going to take it home, and it's going to be a family activity that weekend that you can do with your child. So we'll provide the fresh fruits and vegetables, and you cook at home a fresh meal with your family, and you have it at home.
Sounds like a great idea. Patience Williams, is that something that you were thinking about too, that maybe parents will kind of get on the bandwagon here too with some healthier eating habits if their kids are getting them at the child care center?
Yes, and Barbara, that sounds like an absolutely amazing idea. That is fantastic. We also have the 5 to 0 program for families in the preschools and the early childhood development. And so that's something that we can chat about sometime. And that is a healthy eating and physical activity program challenge. And what we've done for the early childhood development has made it for the families, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-year-olds are not going to track their own progress, and so it's more of a family initiative to really help the parents become those role models in healthy eating and physical activity.
Very good. Well, that's wonderful. Well, before we run out of time this morning, both of you, Patience Williams, can you provide some information about if there are, pardon me, if there are other people watching this morning that would like more information about this program? Is there still a way to get involved, Patience Williams?
I believe so. They can contact me, williamsp@sjcpartnership.org, and we can put them in touch with the early childhood development program there to see if there's still monies available, and also to see what other possibilities there are.
Okay, very good. And Barbara Tedrow, would you kind of talk a little bit about the ease of getting involved in the program, or what it would take for another child care center to maybe get started with this program or involved? Is it how many steps, how many hoops to jump through?
I think it's as easy as making that first phone call, because if you are already on the CACFP program and providing the meals for the children in your center, you're already interwoven anyway. And so you're already doing the reimbursements. The only thing you're missing is getting the fresh fruits. You're already buying it from somewhere.
Got it.
So the key is making that phone call to the hub and getting involved locally.
Just changing the vendor, I guess, right?
Yep,
Is
exactly.
what you'd be doing. So there you go. And Patience Williams, are you hopeful that this provides more demand for fresh fruits and vegetables from our local farmers and growers, and maybe they'll start expanding and we'll see more folks involved at the food hub?
Always, that is our goal, is to expand our farmers and to help them ramp up their production to make it a viable living for them and their families. So I'm hoping that this continues to grow through the early childhood development centers into more restaurants, hospitals, you name it. As everyone said so far in San Juan County, the sky's the limit with our support that we have in this area. So.
Very good. And I know you and I have talked about this before too, Patience Williams, about maybe getting more restaurants and other schools and other folks maybe involved in buying more locally grown fruits and vegetables. That's still an ongoing goal, is it not, to kind of keep expanding the availability and the local businesses who will be maybe buying some more local fruits and vegetables too?
It is. That's always our push is, with the schools, we've got all 4 school districts receive the NM grown monies, and so they all spend money locally with that. So they have the fresh fruits and vegetables for the schools. I know Farmington schools continue to purchase throughout the year as much as they possibly can, and so do, I know, Bloomfield, CCSD, Aztec. All the school districts are really on board and doing such a great job. And we just, now it's our restaurants, and to put that call out to our local restaurants. It's like, we know that there's a food cost. We know that there's a budget. However, when you look at shrinkage and everything else, when you're ordering, everything travels. And so you're going to get that waste. And so if you order and buy local, might be a couple pennies more expensive, but you're not going to be throwing any in the trash. So.
Good point.
Get all those on board.
Right. And I would think it'd be a marketing tool as well, wouldn't you? To be able to market to your customers that you're eating and using locally grown fruits and vegetables in your recipes?
Yes, and we've been working on kind of a marketing program for that. So the restaurants that are providing locally grown fresh produce, meat, whatever, have that sticker on the window that announces, we purchase and provide local. And some of it, we do have restaurants that are doing that now. We really just need to ramp it up. So, and get that out there, because I know when I travel, I look for the local dives, the local restaurants, and hopefully that they're, providing some of their local wares to us.
Right. Right. Well, I think that's a great thing to be able to do. And I know we're just getting started with the growing season here. So this could be another opportunity this season to take it to the next level. So that's wonderful news. We are just about out of time, everybody. So I want to thank you very much, Barbara Tedrow. Thank you for coming in. It's always great to catch up with you, busy lady, and hear about what you're up to. Thank you so much.
Thanks. I appreciate it.
Good to see you. Patience Williams, we see 2 of you, but the original is still the best. Thank you for joining me this morning.
Great. Thank you for having me, Scott. This is awesome.
You're very, very welcome, and good to see both of you this morning here on KSJE. Thanks for joining me, everyone. Our commitment to CHIC, the Community Health Improvement Council, here on KSJE. KSJE is supported by San Juan Regional Medical Center, a community-owned and operated hospital, here for you when you need us. From emergency care to routine checkups and screenings, caregivers are here and ready to provide the safe, high-quality care you need close to home. Online at sanjuanregional.com with the latest health information and resources to help you live life better here. KSJE and San Juan College present the Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week. Week 15, Don't Cram. While it may seem like a good idea to learn an entire semester's worth of information in one night, it's not an effective study habit, and it can cause a lot of unnecessary stress. Instead, study a little bit of information every day for at least 20 to 30 minutes. You'll likely remember more later, and you'll feel calm and prepared when it comes to exam time. The Student Success Coaching Tip of the Week, presented by KSJE and the Student Achievement Center at San Juan College. KSJE is proud to support Riverfest, Memorial Day weekend, May 27th, 28th, and 29th on the banks of the Animas River in Farmington. Enjoy all-day music, food, beer gardens, vendors, crafts and raft rides, the recycled art show, and the plein air painters. Riverfest, a jolt-worthy event, proudly hosted by the River Reach Foundation, sponsored in part by the City of Farmington and the Farmington Convention and Visitors Bureau. Find out more at riverfestnewmexico.com.
Travel is one of